This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. By Crime Stoppers of Southwest Florida. Report crimes and get paid with nobody knowing your identity. 1-800-700-TIPS. And by Lee Health. Welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. We're so thrilled to get Kevin Lewis here, the Executive Director of LARC.
Good to be here.
All right, Kevin, it's always good to get you back on the show. Kevin, just to let people know, I've been on the air longer than 3 years. You were on the show, at least 5-6 years ago, right?
Oh, probably 6 or 7 years ago I was, Lee, yes.
And at the time, you were still providing great services to the community. You're doing something very similar now as well with LARC. What is LARC?
LARC stands for Lee Association for Remarkable Citizens. And it's a group that was formed back in 1954 in Lee County.
Really?
1954, hard to believe. Just turning 65, to work with individuals with intellectual and developmental disorders. Basically to help them discover their capabilities and be part of our community.
Who is your customer? Who comes to you? How do they get in touch with you? They come through you through the healthcare industry? How do they get?
Most folks come based on their family seeking services. Children nowadays are able to get an education through the IDEA Act. And so up until age 22, if you have an intellectual or developmental disability, the school can serve you. Mm-hmm. After 22, not so much. Now you're kind of on your own. And in many cases, the Agency for Persons with Disability, a state agency, will supply some funding for a person that needs services. Mm-hmm. Our job is to help a person find their capabilities and find out how they can be part of our community to the best of their abilities.
How does your organization and the United Way partner?
United Way is a big part of what we do. If you know Florida, you know Florida's not a real generous state in terms of how they fund things. Mm-hmm. So it's United Way funding and Lee County funding that we braid with our state funding to really let us do the work we do.
Where are you physically located?
We're located at the corner of Hanson and Evans and have been there for a long, long time, dating back to the 1960s. That's our main campus. We have 5.5 acres there. We also have a satellite program in Bonita Springs and 2 group homes, one in North Fort Myers and one in Cape Coral.
Can one walk up to one of your buildings, a person off the street, and get services?
That's not how it works usually, no. The person has to usually apply for services because in many times we have to find out whether or not they're appropriate for our services. So we have to have our paperwork in order, have certain testing done, those types of things. Many families will inquire to us, however, and we will sit down and talk with them and help them navigate that system.
Right. So that's basically what I'm saying. They don't have to come through some big machine. They could just
they can
not walk up and get services right then, but walk up, do the paperwork, and do what is necessary, then tap into you.
Yeah, they can call us, they can contact us through our website, and we will try to get them help get sorted out in terms of what their needs are and what might be available to help them.
What has been the response from the community to LARC in general?
Well, we wouldn't be here without the community, Lee. I think back to 1954 when LARC was formed, we had parents that said our kids can learn, but at that time the schools would not admit children with certain IQs, and that was just the way it was. That's not a criticism of the schools. That was true every place. And those parents knew their children could learn, so they approached the school system who gave them a teacher, but then nothing else. Fortunately, Riverside Baptist Church let them use Sunday school rooms, so they had a place, and groups like the Shriners and the Kiwanis and others pitched in to really help create LARC back then. The
families that what are some challenges that are facing families that you are starting to see a trend on now?
Well, I think what challenges facing families are increasingly, some good things have happened. Here's the irony. Back in 1954, if I had a child who had Down syndrome, their lifespan was 25. By now, their lifespan is 63. We've made some great improvements in healthcare and understanding heart issues and things like that. So now families are not able to live long enough to be the primary caretaker of their child if they have a disability. So now they have to do the kind of planning to say, okay, what will happen if I'm not here? That's a huge challenge for families.
Talk about LAB, L-A-B.
Yeah, LAB is our new programming that we're doing. LAB stands for Learn, Achieve, and Become. And we recognize that our job really is to help people be successful in the community. And through 5 different LAB strategies, we're going to teach the skills for daily living, the type of employment skills one needs, health and wellness skills that we all need, you and I and everybody, how to navigate a touchscreen world, and then how to work within our community, how to benefit from the community that we live in that's such a rich and vital place.
What are some misconceptions about LARC that you want people to be sure to know?
Yeah, I think a couple things happened at LARC that when I got there several years ago that it was important that people understand. Number one is the majority of the people we work with are employed in that. People sometimes think people with disabilities are dependent. No, they contribute a lot to society. We support over 50 area businesses just with our on-campus work, and we have over 50 people placed in the community to work. So that's one of the biggest things I want people to understand. The other part is it's really not about disabilities, the work we do. Okay, LARC's about capabilities. I watch people develop capabilities and are able to be successful in the community in ways that far exceed their family's expectations, their expectations, and the general perception I think we have of people with disabilities. We're really in the capability business.
Do you find that still there are people out there who are not familiar with exactly what LARC does, and they really need to know to tap into your services? How do you get the word out? I know you're getting it out right now to over 750,000 people.
Yeah, obviously we get the opportunity to be on your show, which helps. We do an awful lot of speaking in public. We have a Facebook site. We have a web page. We do everything that we can to help people understand that while LARC may not be the answer to the question, there are answers for people that perhaps have a disability. And it's important they be part of our community. They have a lot to contribute. We have to figure out how to help them do that.
How do you define disability?
In our case, we find it as an intellectual or developmental disability. This would be a person with an IQ of a certain level, 70 or lower, and or a developmental disability. Many people also have existing physical disabilities, but we may have people with cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndrome, and a variety of issues like that.
What are the age ranges of people who can be a client?
Yeah, today we're working with people really about from age 14. We do an awful lot of work right now with summer youth programs and working with youth on an outpatient basis, up to people that are up to the age of 75. Every day I go to work and I get to see a man that has really received services from LARC. He was one of the original students back in 1954, and he's still coming every day. His sister, who describes LARC, she goes, my brother wouldn't be alive today without LARC, and she thinks LARC's the happiest block in Fort Myers.
Tell me about some of the professionals who work at LARC, whether it be psychiatrists, psychologists, people with a certain high level of skills to deliver the services in a high level to the clients.
Yeah, the bulk of the people that work with us have experience in working in this kind of a setting with disabled individuals. Most of our leadership staff's been there 10 or 15 years. They're going to have bachelor's or master's degrees and are real skilled at helping people work through what they think their disability is and discover their capabilities.
The work that you do costs money. How does it get paid for?
Well, that's an interesting thing. About 50 cents of every dollar we spend is paid through the state of Florida through the Medicaid program. The rest of it, however, comes from things like Lee County. Lee County is a big supporter of LARC and has been for a number of years. So about 16 cents of every dollar we spend comes from the county. The next biggest funder is the United Way, who's going to throw in another 9 cents to every dollar. Beyond that, we're going to charge fees for services. We're going to generate some monies from the work we do. We've had a wood shop that produces products since the 1960s and sells them around the community and delivers them around the community. We do packing and assembly for 50 area businesses where we support businesses. We have the ability to dial up a workforce and dial it down in that. So that's some of the stuff we can do. And then obviously charitable contributions.
Do you have awards programs or some type of programs to recognize achievements of your clients or your students?
We do. We have a quarterly award where we have a Shining Star Award for the folks that do that. Equally important is we try to celebrate when people make progress, when they move forward. That's a big part of what
the reason I asked that, I've been around for a minute and I've spoken at a lot of places, and I do recall going to LARC years ago to speak at a program where students were being acknowledged for achievement. I remember that, and that's why I wanted to be sure that was LARC, but it was LARC. And it was a great experience for me, and it was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience because I had never spoken in that type of environment, and I learned a lot from being there and the needs and all the great people who work to help people to move on to the next level in life.
Yeah, it's very rewarding work. It's a privilege to do the work we do, but frankly, I think that's the challenge, is there's a lot of folks that need that work, and that's our job, is to figure out how we meet more of that need.
Well, Kevin, I tell you, man, I don't know what we would do in the community without having an organization like LARC. I want you guys to keep up the good work, and enjoyed having you on the show, and looking forward to getting you back in the future, okay?
Thanks.
Okay.
Lee.
As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Kevin Lewis and all the fine people over there at LARC, one of the most important organizations here in Southwest Florida who are doing it. We'll see you.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.